everyone. It is me, the faceless me. So this video is gonna be wow, I can't word. It's gonna be me talking about Back to the Future. And actually, side note, I will be making the strawberry and Fratuzzi combo, but I'm gonna do that after these couple of videos because I'm also gonna be making chibariki and burgers. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, and I need to make a YouTube list. I keep forgetting to do this. Yeah. Anyway, how you say my content is gonna be very fun, for sure. Very vibrant, very fun. But the whole point of this video is talking about Back to the Future. Yeah. So the reason why I'm talking about Back to the Future is because I actually did my first professional orchestra concert. I got paid for orchestra. That was the first time that's happened to me. So I always play orchestras. Obviously, I'm a musician, but never as a professional. So yeah, I looked at the check. I still need to transfer it. When I'm still recording this, I need to transfer it. I haven't done that, but yeah, I looked at the check and I'm like, oh, let's go. For one concert, okay. Let's go. As a 22-year-old mom, I'm like, oh, let's go. So yeah, so that happened. And because of that, I wanted to make a video because, first of all, Back to the Future is so iconic. And I can say now that I've rewatched the movie and played the soundtrack for it. And oh my god, the soundtrack is extremely fast. Like really, really fast. Is like flash fast. And the only reason I say that is just kind of how Alan Silvestri composes, at least for this movie. It's very, and it kind of goes with the movie too, which, because I played this concert, I'm also going to be talking a lot of music theory stuff, so feel aware. But yeah, I because okay, let me backtrack. So the movie is, obviously, a boy, what is it? He's wanting to be a rock star, in the 80s, from my understanding, it was really popular for teenagers around that realm to like rock and roll music, kind of like that. That was kind of their way of rebelling in that time period. And so basically, yeah, we're gonna be thinking of a musician or a person that wants to, play pop music or do music, meeting or friends with a scientist. So that's kind of the kind of collaboration that is happening. It's arts meeting STEM a little bit. And I mean, it does highlight a bit that he's a musician, but it more highlights that he's going back into the future because of an incident that happened, because basically his I forget names, but the character that plays the kind of crazy scientist, he made a car that would go back into the future, and he originally wanted to go back to the future, but because of the mafia people that came, because that was the only way he could get plutonium to go back into the future, the movie, from how it was portrayed at first, they thought he died, and so basically Marty accidentally goes back into the future and has his whole adventure, but then realized the scientist, he's actually okay because this was all set up and all planned. And so that kind of correlates with the music, is because there's a lot of dissonances in it, meaning there's a lot of colors in the music that kind of has almost that suspension feeling, almost kind of that tension, but then also really, really fast. And I personally think why it's so fast is because it's kind of showing tonally, like, basically, what's a good word? It's tonally showing, like, how everything is a little bit of a mess, basically. So, and what I mean by it is because basically the scene or kind of the coursing of how the movie moves to its theme and to what it's actually talking about. Because, okay, so in the beginning, it's more like an exposition, right? Like, it's an exposition, it's just introducing the world, it's introducing the characters. But then, like, the pivotal moment of when the story kind of basically, you know, why it's Back to the Future is the accident, quote unquote, that happens. But then again, we go back to that scene after everything is done and realize it was all purposeful. So the tonality is supposed to almost kind of feel like a hint of suspense, but also not suspenseful at all, if that makes sense. So it's like, it's a really like interesting coloring that Alan Silvestri does on how he's like portraying this movie, but like tonality wise. And I think as a musician, that's like a really cool thing to do, is to show that like purposeful accident, if you will. Because like if you think about it, everything art wise, it's all purposeful, right? But we have to show or almost like mask suspension. Like we don't know that it's purposeful, you know. So, and that's kind of, I think is kind of iconic, is that it's kind of highlighted in the movie, you know. Yeah, so I like that term, purposeful accident. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so I think that was a really smart decision. Again, lots of dissonances, lots of fast notes, just kind of, you know, showing like how it is with different time periods, kind of showing the craziness of all of it, kind of showing almost like the discoloration and the disorder a little bit. There's a lot of disses in this movie and the soundtrack, but I mean, it makes sense. You're going back to the future. Everything's kind of like, what? This is happening? What? And especially for this movie, this is also an older movie, so you know, isn't like compared to now. I do feel like going back to the future in a movie, or you know, doing something that's a little more considered supernatural, was definitely like a new territory. So it kind of shows in his music a bit. But now, obviously, you know, like we all know about time travel and all of that. You know, I mean, like you can still make it exciting, but it was definitely more new, and I feel like people were more present for sure. Anyway, yeah, I think that's like a good point on that. Let's see. I mean, with this type of video, what I like to do is I also like to kind of talk about the character types. So I already talked about the music, and that was like a surreal experience, and like every rehearsal, every concert made me so nervous, dude. Like, oh my god. But I had such a great stand partner, so how orchestras work is it's like 2x2. And so yeah, I was sitting with another person and she's phenomenal. I love her so much. She's awesome and she was so helpful. Yeah. So Marty. Okay, so I already kind of explained him. He's a musician, or he's wanting to be like a rock and roll musician, but at least at the time, because I think this is in the 90s, or at least his character was from the 90s. Yeah, 80s or 90s. Yeah, I think it's 80s because he goes back to the 50s. That's right. So, you know, he goes to the 80s. So he's very much, you know, like the rebel, you know, very much stereotypical, like what you would think of an 80s kid to be, like a rebel, quote unquote. I'm a musician. I don't really consider that being a rebel, but you get it. For the time, it was considered like very rebellious to do that. Musician. Yeah, so he's just like kind of out there. At least for his time period, he was like considered out there, but also like confident at the same time. Like he knew who he was, and like he really loved his girlfriend, and he just always wants to be with her. He kind of wants to impress her. Like he's kind of like that type of dude. Yeah. So that's kind of his core, and then his girlfriend. She's not like a core character, but she does have like speaking lines, and she does kind of help him to move along his plot a bit. And then obviously, he meets his parents in the future, or in the past, and wow, his mom, man, she's definitely the 50s version of a yandere. Like the Calvin like underwear joke was, honestly, if you think about it now, it's kind of messed up. Like again, it's a joke, and like that was the humor and the humor back then, but like that was kind of messed up. Like broski, you could not be looking at someone's underwear and be okay with it, or like asking your parents to let a boy stay over. That's I don't know. So yeah, definitely like she gives me, obviously now that she's older, and now that she's with somebody, she's kind of mellowed out. But especially when she was younger, she definitely gave me like that really like. And obviously, yandere wasn't like a term then, but like definitely very obsessive, not violent necessarily, but definitely very like obsessive and kind of direct on how she portrays things. And that's another thing I've noticed in like older movies, and especially this movie. I do notice like the women are definitely portrayed as like kind of lovesick, and obviously that was during those times, so like it makes sense. But it's just interesting that the male characters have more of like a story, and the women were more like the helpers. But anyway, I reside my point. But you gotta get at that. And then his dad is similar to him, but also very different from him. And I think we are all like that with our parents. Like we have similar quirks to our parents, but also very different too. You know, like we kind of mirror them, but also we're their opposites at the same time. And that's kind of what I was understanding from those character types. And honestly, kind of the whole movie was just kind of like Marty learning to almost kind of like his parents and like understand who they are as people, because also he does come from a mindset where he sees his parents are like, oh, it's just my parents, like, oh, they're so, but not actually seeing them as like human beings. So I thought that was really cool that they kind of highlighted it. I didn't really understand the whole like mom liking son plot. I think that was kind of ridiculous. But it did drive the plot along. And yeah, I don't know. It was definitely like at its core, like it's a good message, but the actual plot is kind of messed up. Especially like how the parents get together. I think that's a little funny how they get together, but we reside. So anyway, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. It's I feel like soundtrack wise, like so iconic, so good. I'm so happy to play it. It's crazy that I played that as my first professional orchestra, but I was at that point. But yeah, as a story itself, it's very interesting. I don't know how it would necessarily hold up in today's terms, but it was definitely progressive for its time, for sure. And again, there was a lot of good messaging in it, you know. So, and then also the bully character, like you can clearly tell he was there to kind of help his dad, either to break him or to make him stronger. So I thought that was interesting, and I do feel like, you know, you always have to have a good bully character, especially if you're talking about like younger children, and just kind of like character development in general. You always have to have some sort of good and bad, you know. And yeah, and I think like the dad, it was also like through the story, like obviously, you know, he was wanting to go back to the future, right? It's part of the title. But it was also a way for him to like almost reconnect and understand his parents, and also for his dad to kind of learn to be more confident, because also the dad, he's a nice guy, but he does let everyone walk all over him, and he willingly does that. So that was nice to kind of see this character who is a good dude, and who personally, I'm a nerd myself. Like, Britt, watch your anime, read your comic books. You know, it's like I don't understand why people dog on that exactly, but it's nice to kind of see this character who thinks of himself as a loser, and that other people see him as a loser, almost kind of grow more confident with himself, you know? Which, again, I don't see that type of character type as a loser. I think it's great being a nerd. but, especially within the time, I did like that we kind of changed that character type a bit. So, that's pretty cool. But yeah. I don't know what else to say about this movie. I mean, I do know what to say about this movie, but also I don't know what to say about this movie. Just because I feel like it's so iconic, but also it's just a great movie. Like, it's excellent. I don't know. It's just like it's iconic. It's iconic, and we adore it and we love it, and yeah, I don't know. I guess, yeah. Yeah, really, it's just about like family relations and just being able to, you know, coincide with each other. I think that's the point, you know. And even the scene, the mom was like, whenever she kissed him. And I also like the scene where he's like, he was wanting to like be mean to her so he can get to her, but you can tell like he couldn't do that, and that just kind of shows how it's like, you know, sometimes we don't like our parents, or sometimes we're not, you know, agreeing with everything, but we still have that core of like, oh, but they're our parents, oh, but I don't want them to get hurt, you know, on their family. And I think that's also like, obviously this movie definitely sugarcoats some of like those struggles, obviously, because, you know, every situation is different, every family is different. But I did like the underlying thing was like, you know, we're family, you know, we're helping each other, you know, like even if we might not like everything that we do, we still don't want to see that person suffer. And I personally kind of struggle with that sometimes, because like my family is, oh my god, they're too much sometimes, honestly. And like I love them to death and I adore them, but like, you know what I mean? It's just kind of that like struggle, like, oh my god. But also like, okay. You know, so yeah. And I think this is kind of a perfect video, because this is also before, at least I don't know when I'm gonna upload this necessarily. I'm gonna definitely upload this after the Jabraki and Burger video. But you know, this week is the Thanksgiving week. It is the holiday week. So I think this video is also good for, you know, just family and understanding everything. So yeah, I think that's a good way to segue away. Yeah, I think that's a good segue. So, or ending. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you like it, and yeah, that's really all that I have to say. And kind of my thoughts about it, and you know, I played for the orchestra, so that's really cool. This is my first, like, I've been busking. I've been singing, like, I'm a live musician on the streets. I'm a street musician. Woohoo! So, like, I've been doing street musician stuff, but this is, like, my first actual, like, gig, like, my first actual, like, job that someone, like, invited me, like, after, now that I finished my time of college, or at least taking a pause on college. So yeah, so I'm really happy. I'm really happy it happened, and we had some fun moments afterward. My life at the current moment is still so chaotic, but I don't know. It's kind of getting there. I don't know. This weekend was really fruitful. Let's just say that. Lots of good things happened this weekend, but then Sunday, Monday was a lot again, so yeah. I don't know. We keep trucking, I guess. But anyway, all that being said, I hope you like it, and I will see you next time. Bye!